Hi everyone, it's BDevine here, and this is another question, I guess a spiritual question, a spiritual guidance question that some people have been, for a very long time now, been going through. And it seems to me that, during our life we've all had these sort of questions. So this was one of them, and this was one of them that is actually quite close to myself because I used to do this myself. So I'm going to know exactly where you guys are at with this one. And it is living in the spiritual closet, which means that you may have religious family or friends or something, or you may have people that are totally against anything spiritual at all in your life, and you're really into it. So of course you're healing and you're growing and you're giving guidance readings and you're really doing all of these things and you're learning about it all the time. You're watching things on YouTube, all this sort of stuff. But if any of your family and friends found out about it, you would be labelled the nutcase or the crazy or lunatic or whatever. And believe me, I've been labelled with quite a few names actually. So anyway, what to do about it? The thing of it is, if you are, a spiritual person completely, and you need to not care what anyone else thinks of you. You have to come out of the closet. And it's almost like the people that are, gay and hiding this huge secret of being gay, they're so afraid of being ridiculed and beaten up perhaps, called names and all of those things, that of course it takes quite a while and quite a bit of courage to come out. But once they do, and the sensation sort of thing is over, then people get used to it, and people accept people. There are some people that don't, and that's their problem. But, you'll find that people do accept each other eventually. Now, if you're living in the spiritual closet, you are never going to grow to the extreme that you are here to do. You're just never going to do that because you're really living in fear. You're worried that people are going to abandon you, and most probably they will. You're worried that you're going to lose friends, and you will. You're going to lose people that, even family, you will. You're going to lose people in your life in the first, few months of really coming out, I guess, that you're just going to lose those people. They're just not going to understand. They're not going to understand you. They're going to think that you're nuts, you're whatever. But eventually they do. And those people that want to stand back and call you names and all those sorts of things, they are probably also, in a way, maybe checking out what you're looking at, and going to YouTube and checking out videos and actually quite enjoying it. But they don't want anyone to know either. So you get this, circus of events going on in your life where, it's just too much. So everybody in my life, they know what I do. Like I do this 24 hours a day pretty much, 7 days a week. This is what I am. This is my life. It's not just something I believe in. My spirituality is my life, and I'm always growing with it, and I'm demonstrating to you guys what can happen when you focus on the positive, when you take things that resonate with you and do that. I can show you how to manifest things because it's just all positive energy that you're drawing to yourself. If you went to a hairdresser who, had the most hideous hair, you just wouldn't go there, would you? Because you're like, well, you don't practice what you preach. You don't even look after your hair. So, if you go to a spiritual counsellor and, they're just completely the opposite. So in other words, they're only there to help you and when you're there and perhaps take your money or whatever it is that they do. But on the rest of the time, they actually shun people who are spiritual. Well, that's not right either. So people that are in the spiritual closet, I can understand, I really can. My father is complete Christian, my husband's parents and all that, they're all Christians as well. The whole lot of them. I was raised as a Christian, all of that sort of thing. So I understand the persecution that you can get. But when you stand up for yourself, and you really just stand up for your beliefs without having to be nasty in return, you just walk your walk, you do your thing, and no one bothers you after a time. It's kind of like they've moved on to something else. But you've come out and you can then talk to people about whatever it is that you want. Now, I'm still, a spiritual person, but I'm also myself, you know, I'm Becky, like I'm just Beck, like people know me as that, and I don't always go to people's houses and just, you know, do readings for them and things like that. It doesn't happen. Sometimes it does happen. You know, I get asked a lot of advice sometimes, and, you know, I feel like I'm on the spot. And I don't always want to do that. It doesn't mean I'm not, you know, spiritual. It just means that I don't always want to give of myself when I haven't had a chance to actually explain what I'm doing, you know. And this is a thing that can happen when you have a friend who is, you know, spiritual, and perhaps you're not as spiritual as they are. Then you may be a little bit embarrassed about the things that they're doing, because, you know, you're not out there yet, you're not doing it yet, you're not complete with it yet, and they are. So you just got to be careful. If you, you know, there are also some people that are spiritual in their everyday life, or they claim to be spiritual in their everyday life, and yet they are doing some things that, you know, like casting spells on people, like negative things to people, you know, making people believe that they are weaker and that, you know, they only need to listen to that person. And, you know, there's a lot of that goes on in the spiritual community. You know, the spiritual community, a lot of people think that they can have a refuge there and they're going to be accepted there. There's still people there that are jealous and that are spiteful, and, you know, they will talk about each other, they'll talk about other people, and it'll just go on and on and on like that. So really, you need to be like tall, standing tall within yourself, in your own way of doing stuff, your own way of telling people about it. You know, you don't have to tell people about it, but, you know, if it comes up, you need to know what you believe in. A lot of people it comes up in their life where people saying, what do you believe in? And they're like, oh, nothing really, you know, they just back their way right out of it. Or they feel that they're going to be judged by people, so they don't say exactly what they want to say, you know, and it can't matter. You know, there's going to be some crazy things going on in the future, and we do need to stand up for ourselves. And if people are going to put us down and make us feel low and actually act like they don't even know who we are, when they're given a situation where they've been challenged and they have to defend you for some reason, if they don't do that, if they don't know who you are, then bless them and walk away, because they're still at a different level than you are. You know, you don't have to be better than anybody or anything like that. It's not about competition in, you know, the spiritual community. It should just be what you feel is right for you. If you are okay with yourself and you're not projecting, you know, negative views and energy to other people, you know, if you're not doing a whole lot of egotistical things, you know, if you're not in it just for, you know, the money or fame or wealth or something, like if you're not in it for all those things, then your heart is in the right spot, and then you'll work out the right way to reveal this to the people that you know. And as I said, you know, a lot of people will come to you initially when you are a spiritual person. They'll come to you and they'll really want to learn, but they're not ready to come out. You know, you might inspire them to do that by continuing on your way. Later on they'll realise, wow, I know what this person was doing at that time. Now I know, because it's happening to me, you see. So be careful with yourself, with your spirituality, with who you are. If you are spiritual, it does not mean that you have to be perfect, you know. You can have a couple of drinks or whatever it is that you do. You don't have to feel guilty for that. That is not a bad thing. But, you know, if you're a spiritual person, it doesn't mean that you're better than anyone either. It just means that you're just trying your best, and you're doing things in the way that you want to do. You're learning, and you're growing, and you're demonstrating the effects of your life. So if you're a spiritual person, you know, it doesn't matter how smart you are and how many degrees you got or anything like that. If you're still homeless and on the street, then it's not really working for you, is it? Because you're not putting it into practice. You know, if you're unhealthy and you're healing people and you're like really, really unhealthy yourself, what is that? You're projecting that onto other people also. So you have to look at yourself, you know, and it is being honest with who you are, and, you know, without being too harsh on yourself. You know, you are going to make mistakes. Sometimes you're going to say things to people that you didn't mean. You're going to say things to people that they take completely out of proportion, and, you know, whatever. So you have to just learn to brush things off of you and stand tall with who you are. If you are only interested in spirituality a little bit, maybe it will grow over time. You don't have to go telling everybody what you do. But if you are really into the business of being a spiritual person and, you know, sharing your knowledge with others and, you know, healing or guiding or whatever it is that you're doing, all in the spiritual realm of things, you've got to take some sort of responsibility with that and be it. You know, be your whole life needs to be it. Otherwise you're holding back. You're holding back and you're going to get all kinds of problems within yourself from holding back. You know, there's this fear of moving forward, this fear, you know, way of living. And really spirituality is all about love and acceptance and joy and happiness, you know, and doing things for other people without expecting stuff in return and expecting them to understand who you are and, you know, loving you for the person that you are, and, you know, on it goes. And this sort of thing happens. Doesn't happen all the time, but you know, this thing should happen to you. And if it's not, then you're in the wrong area for yourself. So that was something that I wanted to talk about. Also, like I said, there are people who are out there and they are doing the wrong thing in society. It's only a matter of time people like that, you know, get found out, I guess. You know, that they're not actually doing things for the most of your integrity. There are people that make mistakes, and that's not something that's evil. That is just a human nature, that sometimes you make mistakes. You don't have to be perfect. This is the beauty of spirituality. All is forgiven, or should be forgiven, and you move on and you leave the past behind you. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, you know, and talk about that spiritual closet business, because, you know, it doesn't matter who we are, we often do it. Even people who are religious themselves, they don't want anyone to know that. And they fall back and fall into a habit of keeping in with other people because they don't want them to not like them or reject them. It's all the same, no matter what kind of spirituality we are talking about. So I hope that was helpful to somebody out there, and I am very, very happy to bring these messages to you guys. If you have any spiritual questions or whatever it is, there is no judgment here from me. It's not my place to judge anybody. Just you know, leave a comment in the messages below and I'll write them all down and get to them as soon as I can. So I hope everyone has a joyful day and is feeling inspired and ready to take action in your life. And until the next video, it's goodbye from me.